Okay, we're back safe and sound now. Although you don't look in very good shape, if I may say so. We should probably patch you up. I don't want you traipsing dirt and blood into my nice clean house. I don't think we were followed, but you can never be too careful. All the technology that everybody has these days, you never know. Don't mind my claws, by the way. I'd rather keep them on if it's all the same to you. Actually, we should probably think about looking for a new place. I don't like to stay in the same place too long. Call me paranoid, but I've had plenty of instances where I've been visited by unwanted guests, we'll say. Well, one time while I was sleeping, actually, there was a loud noise at the foot of my bed. So I awoke with a start, obviously, and stood right at the end was a strange man wearing a pig's mask. I know, freaky, right? And he was carrying a butcher's knife. No, you've guessed it. I think Gotham is full of interesting characters like that, but I'd never seen him before. So, well, he was clumsy and slow. Probably drunk as well, given the state of his walk. So, I made light work of him. But it was slightly terrifying, I must admit. Well, it's a good job I can handle myself, isn't it? I know Bruce has offered his protection, but I am rather stubborn, as you know, and I'd rather handle things for myself and not give him the satisfaction. Well, he's not been without my help once or twice. Yes, even though he has all those gadgets, he still finds himself in hot water sometimes. Well, we do have an agreement. Well, it's up to me if I uphold my end, but he has been there for me a few times. When I haven't needed him, of course. But he's a good person. So, I suppose we loosely look out for each other. I'm not going to stop the heists, of course, but he doesn't need to know that. That's just between us. Well, it was quite ironic, really. I mean, the man in the pig's mask needn't have worn it, because naturally underneath he was quite the pig anyway. Yes, it was rather disturbing. Yes, you never know what dangers you'll find lurking. And maybe even at the foot of your bed, but let's hope not. Well, it's a good job you have me now as well to look out for you. We should have each other's backs anyway, since we're doing these heists together. It's such a shame about this time. You really should listen more. We will have to get you trained up further. Maybe it was my fault and I let you join one too early. This one was quite high stakes. Don't worry though. I'm sure you'll be fine for the next one. Yes, you have quite a nasty cut on your head. I would give you a plaster, but I fear I don't have one big enough. best I can do is clean it as much as possible. Stay still. Never thought I would have an accomplice, I'll be honest. But you can be quite entertaining at times. Some things cannot be done alone, I will say that. And even though the last heist went terribly wrong, I wouldn't have got much further on my own. Sometimes it does help to have an extra pair of hands. That's a bit better. So, I suppose you'll want to know about the other heists I've been on. Well, okay. I will tell you of one in particular. This is my favourite. I love it when things come together. So, this is going to sound pretty crazy, but this is the life I lead. It starts in Arkham Asylum. Yes, the Arkham Asylum. I know you're probably thinking, what could I possibly want from there? Well, I suppose it's more of a question of who has what I want. So, Oswald Cobblepot, known as Penguin. Well, you see, he's quite the wealthy man, and he has something I want. A giant ruby. This isn't just any ruby. It is the largest uncut pure ruby, probably on the planet. Let me just move that out of the way. Think you'll need cleaning up a bit further. So, this ruby, I did plan originally to sell it on the black market, but I decided against it in the end, and I just wanted it for myself. So, how did I get in, you ask? Well, it was pretty crazy trying to break into Arkham Asylum. When one does not naturally belong there, it goes against the instincts to break in, but I really wanted that ruby. So, I disguised myself as a psychiatric nurse. Penguin was due for a review. I have eyes and ears everywhere, so I was hopeful that my intel was accurate. Anyway, it's amazing what a wig and a pair of glasses can do. And that's exactly how I got in. Just a simple lab coat, glasses and a wig. And a clipboard. Have to look official. It's all about the details, you see. So, I simply walked in and pretended I lost my keycard. And they let me through. When I entered the building, I streamlined straight for where Penguin was staying. It's a bit of a labyrinth in there, you see, so that on its own took some time, which was disappointing. But anyway, I eventually found his cell. And I led him towards another room. The room was a typical holding cell, but it was slightly more on the interrogation side. It had 2 cameras adjacent at either end of the room, and a 2-way glass mirror. But obviously, on our side, it was mirrored. So, I'd assumed there would be a guard in there. And luckily, I was prepared, and beforehand, I had already met this guard and slipped something into his tea. It's amazing what a bit of flirting can do, and a kind gesture. So, that was him taken care of. I also managed to pinch his key card as well, which would come in handy later when trying to exit and also just to pass through the building undetected. Well, the easy bit was actually extracting the ruby from Penguin. He's a rather short and stocky man, but he's no match for me, of course. So, I took the ruby and left him in a pretty sorry state. But I'm sure they won't mind when they find him. Well, next was the tough bit. Getting through the security and downstairs to the storage room. You see, the storage room is where they have a fire exit, so that would be my logical way of escaping. But the hard part, you see, was getting to the lower level. Well, on the second level was housed Gotham's most infamous villains. Not ideal. So, I took off and braved it. I prayed that no guard would fleece me because I had this giant ruby in my pocket. Well, I'm not that stupid. I'd sewn a special pocket inside of the lab coat, so it would be rather undetectable unless I was patted down, which hopefully it wouldn't come to that. Anyway, this room was filled with cages, open as well, so I could see all the inmates inside. It was purely so they could be caught if they were trying to hatch an escape, etc. Anyway, as I was walking down, I could see the lift that would take me below level. As I was walking down, I saw the elevator that would lead to my eventual escape. However, there was one guard that stepped out in front of me just as I was about to get in it. I admit I did panic for a second there. If he'd caught me, it'd be game over and I would never leave that place. As you can imagine, I had to dodge not only the guards, but the inmates. I'm not well liked among Gotham's villains, you see. Some of them are in there actually because of me. One of us had to go down, and, well, it couldn't be me, could it? We have heists to do. So they took the plunge for me, involuntarily. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, the guard circled me and I stood there frozen, not knowing what to expect. He turned around and crouched down and picked up a pen. And he told me he thought I dropped it, which I hadn't because I was holding one already, but I didn't want to give things away, so I smiled and said thank you and went along my way. The guards are stupid and easily manipulated. A smile from any woman, I'm sure, would turn their heads and they wouldn't have a clue. Anyway, as I went down in the glass elevator, I caught Edward Nigma out the corner of my eye. I couldn't help but give him a wink and blow him a kiss. He knew instantly what I was up to. They would never believe him, though. It would be an embarrassment to the whole institute. But he is smart, and I'm sure he will try and find a way to get back at me. He is very familiar with the ruby, you see. But anyway, I made my way down to the storage facility. Not a big deal. Lots of storage boxes and things, rather dusty, but a few sad-looking janitors that probably couldn't have cared less if they know I'd stolen the ruby anyway. They weren't treated very well, so, again, make sure you use things like that to your advantage. It will come in very handy one day. But they were no bother. And there I saw it, the most beautiful sight all day, bar the ruby, of course. The fire exit door. So, I used the key card I had earlier stolen to make sure no alarms were set off. That would have just been a hassle for no reason. And I took off down the street to my ride with the most expensive ruby on the planet, just perfectly sat still in my pocket. To be honest, it was a miracle nothing went wrong. It really makes you question how safe it is in those kind of institutions. I feel like any one of those inmates could escape at any moment, really. Well, you are looking much better now. Hopefully no scrapes next time. Ooh, one more thing. I'm just going to make sure that the wounds are all clean. I know it stings, but you've seen a lot worse, I'm sure. I do have quite a lot of stories, but that will be for another time. Yes, I do still have the ruby. It's in one of my many storage units across Gotham. Sorry, that's something you don't get to know about. We still have to learn to trust each other after all. But maybe even that one will always remain a mystery to everybody but myself. I have to have something for myself, don't I? Well, the reason I have so many is it would be stupid to have them all in one place. Fires do happen, you know. And also, if anyone were to break in, I wouldn't want all of them stolen now, would I? Right. That's you looking much better. Do you have any questions? Okay. I know you have a lot of questions. Maybe that's for next time. We should probably rest now. I've had a remarkably busy evening and I think I can see the sun coming up actually. We should definitely sleep. Yes, well, as I say, next time we'll make sure you're properly trained before we do anything like that again. Well, I will clean up here and you take yourself off to bed. Yes, I will be sleeping with these on again. Never know when a crazed man in a pig mask might show up. I did keep the pig mask, by the way. It's over there by the drawers. Feel free to have a look. It's rather disturbing, but I keep it with my other treasures. Okay then, I will see you in the morning. Good night.